Yeah,
Look at his face.
yeah. Too up, too down.
Look at his face.
Hey,
God,
yeah.
money.
Yeah, I wanted the crown and to be celebrated. I rented a tux and I ordered a mink. Stood in the mirror like mama, I made it. Proceeded to brushing the teeth in the sink. Caught me a grill and I'm so melanated. I polished the chain, I ain't gold in the link. And I got me a baby who gave me some babies. I'm raising a lady and building a king. Too cold, you too busy running with another man lane, I guess. Yeah, too bold. I be running on the one way, never change my set like, I don't ever use my signals, yeah. I be in the lane myself, yeah. I don't gotta change my mental, yeah. And I ain't gotta chase my wealth, and I accept my daddy got a kingdom, and everything I ever got is his. If I ever got a problem, I'ma seek him. I never doubt him, been about his biz, oh man, been at. I ain't gotta ride on the wave when the ocean is his. Close with the kid with a
What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refinance to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
What it do, baby? It's your partner Cliff and Dale back in the saddle again for another edition of Real Estate Friday Live. Cliff, what's going on with you, big time? How you doing, big time?
Man, doing good, doing good. Another good week.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Man, did we get the bag, brother? Did we get the bag?
Oh yes, sir. You know we got that bag.
We got the bag, y'all, man. Number one, guys, if you could let me know, guys, do you guys see us clearly on Instagram? Instagram looks like it's frozen, but if it ain't, it's all good. Just let us know if you can, guys. Let us know if you see us on Instagram. If not, I can get it corrected, guys. At all, Cliff, man. But man, what was it a good week, man? Was it good? Doc? Holiday people was it really good?
Man, it's a good week. Can't complain, man. Got a couple things going. So yeah, man, it's looking good. Looking good, man. The market. I think we're about to go through some. It's changing a little bit. So I think we're
Okay.
looking forward to some coming up here soon.
Okay. Oh, let's dive right into it, guys, man. Yes, your partner did get the bag. As you see, I got the bag. Yo, you see that thing?
Oh
You
yeah.
see it? You see the
Yeah, you
merch,
got the drip out
baby?
today. I
You
see.
see the drip, baby, looking better than you. Don't talk bad about me. Talk Jesus about that thing. But man, Cliff, if you could, man, tell him, man, what's going on with the market? What you seeing in the market, man? What's going down?
Man, the market is changing, man. I think I'm seeing more purchases come through.
Okay.
Um, I think people are starting to see rates drop just from I'm thinking about 2 months ago, rates have
Yeah.
dropped almost a point
Okay.
in 2 months.
Okay.
So we're starting to see those changes, and I'm guessing
Okay.
that we're gonna see another point drop in probably another 2 to 4 months. Or maybe 5 months, but 2 to 5 months, we're gonna see another point drop. So right now, when you go on, you're looking at 5.75. I think we could drop
Okay.
down to 4.75 beginning of 2025.
Word. Okay. So what you're saying is you think it's going to be another point that's going to come. It's going to drop down. What you're saying?
It's I think that's gonna be aggressive, but yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, what are you doing? What do you anticipate this actually happening from the Fed?
So all right, first we gotta do is let's see. So we gotta look at the Federal Reserve meetings and
Yeah,
see because right now we saw the market went up
yeah, I did.
with the rates, right? The rates went up, they
Okay,
peaked, and then they stalled out. So that's been the
okay,
last what 3 4 months. It's
yeah,
been at 0%. So
yeah.
next week we're gonna get a quarter point drop, and let me see where we at now. So we have one in September. That's next week.
Okay,
There's another one right after the election
okay,
on the 6th,
okay.
and then we have one more for the year in December.
All right.
So my guess is that we're gonna get a quarter point on each one of those dates.
A quarter point, huh? That what you see? See a quarter point. So you think two? So you say it's going to be two or three rate changes? What you saying?
Right. Yep.
Do you do you anticipate there being a change in the market even with those rate changes?
I do. I think there's gonna be a lot more
Really?
people coming out. There's been a lot of people on the sidelines. I was watching a video of United Wholesale Mortgage. and their
Yeah.
CEO, who was on CNBC Business,
Okay.
and he is saying they're already starting to see the shift.
What
Their
type of shift?
mortgage applications, they're up. He says they're about already up 30% from last
Okay.
year. And so
Okay.
that's probably, I'm guessing that's going to continue. I'm seeing it too. I mean, I've seen the shift going. I went through my numbers. Um, I was going over last month, right? Always
Okay.
do a review at the end of the month, seeing, take a look at where we're at. And it's
Okay.
been a huge jump from last year. I'm up
Okay.
50% from last year.
Okay. Now, are
So
these more so new construction, new home purchases, foreclosures? What are you seeing an uptick in?
purchases,
Purchases. Are those
Mhm.
purchases more new construction or just single, just SFRs?
Just both. I would say both, but mostly just, SFRs, no new construction. I see a little new construction, but everything else, man, it's still moving. A lot of
Still
stuff is
moving.
moving.
What? Give me the price range. Of course, $350,000 and below is still hot, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you're below 350, it's gonna sell. There's no doubt because you're looking at mortgage payments like $1,200.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, so that's still strong. What I'm seeing, I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth market. So what I'm
Yeah.
seeing around here is really sub 500,000
Okay.
is
Okay.
strong.
Okay. So sub 500,000, you're saying is strong. Okay, and I agree with
Hmm.
you on that one. So with that being stated, let's walk through these. So you said 350,000 and below. It is okay. I got you. Now, what about let's say 400,000, 800,000? What you seeing?
Oh, that's the market. That's most of the market. I would say anything above 600 right now. What I'm seeing, anything above 600,000
Okay.
is a little bit. That's kind of moderated. I haven't seen too much changes there, but
Okay.
below 600, especially below 500, I would say right now my guess is 350 to, let's say, at the top 550.
Okay.
That those things aren't staying on the market long. I mean, you're talking about 60, 90 days tops.
Really? So you're seeing a lot of concessions from sellers, or this is kind of like the standard type of sale?
Man, I'm seeing actually with concessions. Um, I would say right around 7,000 is probably on
7,000.
average what you're gonna end up doing on a concession. That's what most people are asking for.
Okay. Okay. So, so what you're saying is, and I'm trying to make sure I understand the market. Now, 800,000 and above, what are you seeing?
Not much, not much change. Um, I haven't seen a lot of difference in that market. I'm working on one right now. Uh, that's kind of a little different. I haven't seen too many above that. It's few and far between. Last time I've done these type of properties that were above 800,000, it stalled. It had stalled on me.
Really? Really?
Yeah, yeah, I've seen it. And most of what I've seen also, when I do look at the analysis, a lot of it's cash.
Okay.
Once you get above 800,000, you start seeing much more cash transactions.
Okay. That makes some sense. So over 800,000, what type of discount are you seeing if it's over that the price when they're paying cash? 30, 40%, 20%? What are you seeing?
Probably 15%, 10, 15%.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And people are actually they're actually are buying properties with that little of a discount.
Yeah, yeah. But I haven't seen too many actually on the market though. So there's not many houses like that on the market.
Ah, so it's what you're saying is people are holding on to those properties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha,
Now
gotcha,
I
gotcha.
still have a little bit more analysis to do in terms of um uh what those days on market are for the higher end, because that's a whole different
Totally different beast.
market. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's
That's
totally different beast. Totally different beast. Yeah, totally different
hmm
beast. That actually makes some sense, guys. It makes some sense, guys. Okay, well, I can see that kind of happening that way. I would say this here is so between 400,000 and $100,000 days on market before for selling. What are those days?
400, 800,000. If it was me, I'd plan at a minimum 60 days.
60
Um,
days.
I have seen what I am seeing a little bit in those markets. They're starting to come down a little bit, not much. Um, I think that's going to change. I keep
Okay.
saying it right now that coming into next year, I think there's going to be the market next year, the next 2 years is not going to be like the previous 2 years.
Really?
It's
Okay.
going to be a better economic system, I think. And so
Okay.
if you're looking to buy a home, to me, I've been saying it for a while. The next 6 months are going to be your best deal because rates will be down. They'll have dropped down a little bit, right? But the economy still isn't at its peak level. So there aren't many people who can necessarily buy. So you'd be in a perfect position to buy a home for a good price at a decent interest rate.
So are you factoring in people's inflation outpacing wages and also to record low in savings versus credit card debt in your analysis?
I'm factoring that in. I think it has to play a role. I mean, it's
It
not
does.
question that
It
when you have
does.
record credit card debt, how could it not?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I think that's why I say it's gonna be a slow uptick. I
Sure.
think, but I think it's gonna uptick. You know what I mean? Because still interest rate, unemployment, which is manipulated. I understand
Sure.
that. It's
Sure.
still decently low.
Yeah.
So people have jobs, they're just not making as much money versus inflation.
I agree with that 100%. I would say, I'm not surprised at all to see a little bit of a tick because it's new. All people have actually had it's a
Right. Yeah.
really bad market. So people are excited. Things of nature. I think it's going to tamper off because as people begin to get these new payments at a higher rate, I think it's going to taper off. And I don't see a lot of movement of people moving from 2-3% up to a 5-6-7% interest rate. If that makes some sense. Would it be some movement? A little bit. Would it be a lot of movement? I would say not a lot, but it's good to see some type of movement. I agree with that. I agree with
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I think anybody who has 2, 3, maybe even 4%,
Yeah.
I think they'll ultimately get rid of that. A lot of them will because life, you know what I mean?
Sure. Sure.
If you're moving, you really ain't got much of a choice. I don't think anybody, if let's say, I think the average is about 3.7, 3.75 is
Agree.
right around what most people's average is. No one's going to change a 3.75 for an 8 or a
I
7,
agree. I agree with that.
but
That part I agree
maybe
with.
a 5.5, a 5. Going from a
And that
3.75 to 5 for a new house, if you have to move to a new area, that's possible.
and that really depends on, to be honest with you, if taking that leap up when it comes to a higher payment pays off debts, so to speak, credit card debt, car loans. If that makes some sense, that makes a more viable move. I don't see people making a jump up there just because they want to do it because it didn't make any sense. Does that make sense to you, Cliff?
Yeah, yeah, it's gotta be for a reason. I mean, I think, like I said, it's gotta have some kind of motivation. But you also have to factor in that equity, personal residential equity, is at an
Sure,
all-time high
it is.
because
It is.
inflation just pushed everything up last couple of years.
It did.
So we're sitting on record levels of equity right now. And so once that
Hmm.
starts getting tapped, there's going to be more money into the market. But it's pretty easy. I mean, I think you just track mortgage applications,
Sure.
and and put it this way, we're at a 40-year low of mortgage
Mm.
applications.
Yeah.
And
Yes, we are.
so there's to me that there's only one where it can only go up. I don't think it's going down.
Or it could actually stay stagnant. It can stay stagnant because of the conditions of people's financial wherewithal when it comes to what's going on with the house. That's why people are so concerned about this said election is because of the fact that whose policies is going to give them the environment to be able to flourish, not be constrained. If that makes some sense.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir, man. Yes, sir. Man, guys, this was a good analysis, guys. It is what it is. Now, we're gonna do something a little bit different than what we do in the past, guys. And again, we're not trying to get political at all, but it's you guys come to us for some counsel when it comes to policy, when it comes to real estate investing and how to strategize the right way. Well, as I always say, the government should not be a player in the game; it should be a referee in the game. So we thought it'd be wise for us to kind of examinize the proposed plans of the referee that's going to be get into the game this November, right? So, guys, we thought that it'd be wise to talk about Trump versus Harris, the two presidential candidates, tax policies compared, and the impact that's going to be on real estate investors, right? So this is going to be for business and real estate investors alike itself, but we're going to really examine both policies. Then you'll hear me and Cliff's commentary on what is being presented, right? And then we kind of give you the kind of what we call the real estate counter move. So here we go. We're going to first examine Vice President Kamala Harris's her policy, right? There's been a lot of commentary concerning her policy, right? And we're going to look at it strictly from a real estate perspective. That is it, all right? This is not a political show at all, period. But we have to examine what may happen. So let's look at Vice President Kamala Harris's proposed plan for taxes. All right, here we go.
Guys, as we know, President Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race on July 21st, 2024, right in the middle of his campaign. And this has created a very interesting situation where Vice President Kamala Harris took over as the Democratic frontrunner for the presidential election with just a few short months to go, and without actually winning a Democratic primary election. Ever since Kamala took over, she has given very few interviews and has answered very few questions to clarify her economic policies. This has left many people confused about exactly where she stands on important issues, such as taxation. However, she has made some comments throughout her campaigns, and she's also released a new tax plan in early September. So I'm going to break down her key points for her tax plan so we all know, what does the Harris administration believe in? Here's proposal number 1. Taxing unrealized capital gains. Wow. Kamala Harris wants to tax unrealized capital gains for the wealthy, and President Biden originally proposed this, but Kamala has announced that she also supports this idea. If you do not know what an unrealized gain is, it's a hypothetical profit that you might make one day by selling a capital asset such as a stock or a piece of real estate at a higher price than what you originally bought it for. So let's just say, for example, if you bought Apple stock at $200 and it rose to a price of $300, you would have an unrealized gain of $100 if you never sold. However, you would only realize the gain if you sold it, thus locking you in on the $100 profit.
Correct.
But by taxing unrealized gains, Vice President Harris would be taxing fictional profits that you don't technically have yet in your possession. Remember, the price of assets like stocks, precious metals, real estate, bonds, they don't always go up.
Correct.
Sometimes they go down. So yes, you might have to pay capital gains taxes on assets you actually lose money on in a Kamala Harris presidency.
Correct.
Taxing unrealized capital gains is an extreme departure from current tax policies, which only tax realized capital gains. It is important to note, however, for now, this tax proposal would only apply to families with a net worth above $100 million.
Okay.
Under the Biden-Harris tax proposal, families with this amount of wealth would owe up to 25% in taxes on unrealized capital gains, depending on the tax rates they are already paying. They will owe a 25% minimum tax that includes unrealized capital gains.
So Cliff, right there on his first point, when it comes to Vice President Kamala Harris's proposed plan of taxing unrealized gains on income over $100 million and above, give us your thoughts concerning will this benefit the real estate investing or business environment or hinder it?
First I want to be able to just educate a little bit, because I think a lot of people get confused on realized gains, unrealized,
Sure.
me and you in it. So I think we understand it,
Sure.
and so a lot of people are still trying to understand it. And he did a good job of breaking it down, but
Sure.
just to say it very simply, it's like buying Apple stock. And Apple stock going from $10 to $20. You're like, cool, I just made $10. The stock doubled, but the government taxing you on that, but you haven't sold the stock yet.
Yeah.
So real simple. Basically, they're selling, you're getting taxed on stock you haven't sold. That's all it is.
Correct.
But you got to realize what that does is it
incentivize.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't allow you to really focus on your business or focus on making money.
Yeah.
What it does makes you do is say, I got to sell this. And so it makes everything more transactional versus long-term investments, which is what really drives the economy.
Correct.
And so, and we have to understand, they say, on people over 100 million, but you have to understand, people, when you get to that level, most of their wealth is in business.
Correct.
They don't keep that cash normally.
Correct. Correct.
It's in bonds, it's in stocks, it's in some kind of asset that's producing.
Correct.
Because when you have 100 million, you're losing 3% a year, or
Yeah.
under this administration, 8% a year in inflation.
Yeah.
That's $20 million a year lost to just inflation. So they don't keep cash. So what does that mean? It means that they're not investing.
No.
They're not
Not
investing
at
in the
all.
economy.
This type of approach does not incentivize at all capital investment. Because when it comes to business owners, whether it be in real estate investing or enterprise businesses, we're in a debtor nation, which means money is created through debt. Money being created out of thin air is via debt, right? And so if you're disincentivizing debt to be borrowed or capital to be invested into the market, that's going to just constrain the market. So if I am a business owner, and let's say, for instance, Vice President Kamala Harris actually wins, and she actually wants to do this, right? What happens is you're going to see a lot of business owners flee, take their capital offshores, and they have the ability to do that, but the average American does not. So them going after families that have over $100 million may sound good in theory, but there's a reason why they're worth $100 million. They have the best tax attorneys. They have the best asset protection attorneys. They have the best accountants. They have the best EAs. They have the best everybody on their squad. And they just take their money across the seas. And also, guys, a little bit of a secret when it comes to the uber rich. A lot of times, guys, they don't pay taxes for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years purposely. So they can actually begin to negotiate a lower tax bill with the IRS through their army of accountants, and they come to the agreement and they just cut a check out. That's normal for them. So this type of approach, although it disincentivizes when it comes to what they're trying to do, they have a kind of already in place because they do it now. They do it now. Cliff, you agree? You disagree?
No, you're right. And because you got to realize, when you come after the business owners like this, they already said they go offshore.
Yeah.
So for example, right now, Apple, I think almost has $1 trillion cash, something crazy. It's something wild. I may be off, but it's let's say it's a lot.
Sure.
And it's in Ireland because Ireland has zero taxes for foreign investors because they want that money. It's a very small country, so that's what they do in order to stay in the market, right?
Correct.
So what you're doing is you're incentivizing all these big corporations to keep their money there versus America.
Correct.
And so it just doesn't allow. It's not a smart move from what I can tell. I think it's more. And the other thing I think is you're not going to be able to get it through Congress. I don't think many people are going to vote on it because it seems like you're going after people versus trying to help people grow.
But I believe that's the play, because what I've seen concerning a lot of in this political climate is through executive order, they get a lot of this stuff accomplished, and they say, just take me to court. And they go through the process. So it may take you 1 or 2 years to go through court, maybe even 3 years. But because of the EO and because of the appeals and the judges on either left or right hand side are agreeing with the EO or not agreeing with the executive order, it can be a big old mess. By doing that time frame, I guarantee you right now, those business owners actually have $100 million of value. Their money is already gone already. It's already across the seas. So this type of going after this $100 million people, that didn't exist because they've already counter moved already. They're done.
Right.
They're laughing at this. But let's keep going.
Now, why are taxes on unrealized capital gains concerning? I know some of you out there are probably thinking, I love Kamala and I don't care if she taxes unrealized capital gains because this will only apply to the ultra wealthy. If you fall into this category, I got some news for you. Regular income taxes also started out as applying to the ultra wealthy, but I'm guessing most of you watching this video currently are paying income taxes even if you're not ultra wealthy.
Correct.
When income taxes were first put into place in 1913, they originally only applied to the top 1% of Americans. Then, once the government got people used to that idea of income taxes, it started applying income taxes to the vast majority of workers in America, not just the top 1%.
Right.
So if you think that taxing unrealized capital gains will only ever apply to just the top 1%, you might need to think again.
Yes,
if they get
sir.
approved for families with over 100 million in wealth, it could very easily be changed to families with over 1 million in wealth or 100,000 in wealth. You get the point. I also think that taxing unrealized gains sets a dangerous precedent. Under this policy, the government would force you to pay taxes on money that you actually haven't made.
Correct.
If the government can force you to pay taxes on money you haven't made yet, where is the line for what is able to be taxed? Will it force you to pay excise taxes on cars you haven't bought? Will it force you to pay sales taxes on items you haven't purchased?
Wow.
Will they force you to pay property taxes on properties you don't own yet?
Jeez.
Where is the line at? Another concerning thing about this tax policy is that it does not appear to include a tax refund for unrealized capital losses. It seems only fair to me that if the government is going to tax unrealized capital gains, it should also refund unrealized capital losses.
Correct.
I mean, people who are ultra wealthy often view taxes on wealth, like this new tax that Harris is proposing, as an unfair punishment for being successful. When the wealthy feel that they are being punished for their success, they often flee to areas with better tax treatments.
Correct.
Many millionaires and billionaires could simply leave the country if they don't like the idea of their unrealized capital gains being taxed. Millionaires and billionaires create tens of millions of jobs in America. So the more of them that leave the country, the more dangerous it is for our entire economy. It's also worth noting that many wealthy people will most likely be less willing to buy stocks, invest in real estate, or otherwise take risks to generate capital gains if they know they will lose up to 25% before they even take their profits. Okay, let's move on.
So, Cliff, let me ask you a dumb question. If you were presented an opportunity to where when you make the investment, you're going to lose 25%, would you make that investment?
No,
Why?
because why would I invest in something that right off the back I have a 25% loss? I mean, think about that. Like, hey, Dale, you want to invest in something, you're gonna lose 25% off the jump.
Like, hell no. Like, why are you calling me? But anyway, but that is what is being proposed. I love his breakdown. I love his breakdown. He's breaking it down on all of Adams. Now she has other proposals, guys, and we're not going to bore you all that. I'll do a kind of podcast that go a little bit deeper in this on this, but we're going to take a look at just one thing for both candidates, right, guys? So how this would actually kind of how you think this would actually, Cliff, affect the real estate investor market?
I think it'd be interesting because it's one of those things where you probably have more transactions.
Mhm.
Because if you own, like, let's say Grant Cardone, who owns billions in
Mhm.
assets, I mean,
Mhm.
if he has to pay capital gains,
Mhm.
uh, that's a good question. Let me actually throw it back at you.
Okay.
How would that work for real estate exactly? Because you're already paying unrealized gains on property taxes.
Yeah,
Then you would get hit again on the same. Isn't that double taxation?
it is. It
So
is.
I'm not sure how they would pull that off. Is that
It's
all assets? Is it? Man, it starts getting complicated, man. When you start diving into it, it
yeah.
don't add up.
It's purposely vague because of the fact that look at who the initial audience that they're focusing on, $100 million and above, right? Typically, Cliff, those individuals own several different assets: real estate, businesses, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, IRAs, life insurance. They own a lot of those assets. Am I right, Cliff?
Hmm.
So if they're going after them and they own those assets and they can't get them, who are they going to go after next? I love what Carlton talked about. He talked about 100 million down to a million down to 100,000. So what's happening is to kind of make it complicated. Yes, they can come after your car, your house, your retirement, your stock market. Even I love what he said. This is kind of terrifying. Is do you get taxed on homes you hadn't bought yet? What about cars you ain't bought yet? Where does the line stop at? It's vague. We don't know. Don't know yet.
And he made a good point too that w- if the stock went up 10%
Yeah.
in 1 year, cool, you have to pay unrealized tax. But if the stock goes down 50%,
Yeah. No
you know what?
refunds.
Would it get a refund for that?
No.
And actually, it's funny because you might, if they did have to refund you, now you're incentivizing losses.
Yes, you are.
Because if you already have a bunch of taxes, you might already just go take. Basically, what I'm saying is you take a flyer on more wild stocks because you don't care if it goes down because you get to offset your taxes with those losses.
Well, that's actually incorrect because even from the get-go, no matter what you do to offset it, you've already lost because you began in the red.
Right.
You're 25% in the red. So you're already fighting behind. So from a novice investor, a semi-seasoned investor, and a seasoned investor, does that environment entice capital investment? The answer is hell no. You'll see Dubai, Ireland shoot up in wealth, and Dubai is already flowing in the money, and they are a major importer. They export nothing; they import everything. Dubai,
Still oil.
yeah, yeah. That's but that's what it is, guys. It disincentivize real estate investors to invest capital in neighborhoods to take advantage of the tax code that the government's put in place to incentivize capital investment. That's what actually happens with when you tax unrealized gains. I don't see how that can work.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is in America, people are trying to make the dollar turn to two. That's what you do here.
Correct.
You know, and the more you incentivize that, the more you have growth. And, you know, entrepreneurs are going to keep going. That's why you want to incentivize them because look at Shark Tank. Every single one of those people could just go and live on a boat, travel the world. Instead, what are you doing? Working.
Correct.
Buying more businesses, growing the business, getting more employees. They're losing money on a lot of those businesses too. They're taking the chance to see if they work out. And when you let those people go and they know how to make businesses work so that there's employees, that grows the overall economy.
Yep. And Cliff Doc, you know, each time we hear an idea that's not good, we got to invite in a well-known gentleman that loves to commentate about this, man. Let's go and bring him in. You may know who he is. He real black. Here we go.
Dog. Come on, man.
Boosie. Boosie had to come and say something about that one.
Right. I see little Boosie. I see you.
Little Boosie had come in. Now, we kind of critiqued Vice President Harris's plan. Now, let's break down President Donald Trump's. And we're going to focus on his. We're going to focus on his for him. It's going to be, he's talking about abolishing income taxes. And I just said, damn. Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
We got to hear this, man. So let's see about this policy we talk about here. Let's see what's going on.
What exactly did Trump say? In a meeting with GOP lawmakers at the Capitol Hill Club in June, Trump suggested that if he is elected president in November, he will do away with federal income taxes entirely and replace them with what is known as a tariff policy. This would be a complete paradigm shift for the taxation policy that we currently have in America. I'm going to break down exactly what this would mean so that you have a better idea ahead of time in case Trump does become our president and we're looking at a major tax overhaul. If this does end up happening, we could be saving a massive amount of money in taxes, and you know I'm here for it. So first things first, what the heck is a tariff? You may remember the word tariff from like some random history class you took in high school. However, a lot of people do not fully understand what that word means and how it works. So let Uncle Carlton help you out. Here's the deal. A tariff is a tax that is imposed by one country on the goods or services imported by another country. So to understand how this works, let's look at a little example here. Tariff example number 1. The United States wants to generate more tax revenue while relieving tax burden for its citizens. So it decides to put a 3% tariff on automobiles imported from other countries. So a car dealer in America that would normally sell a brand new Maserati imported from Italy for $100,000 would have to sell it for $103,000. This gives the extra $3,000 to the US government. So when tariffs are put into place, certain foreign goods that are imported into the United States become more expensive. What does that mean? Are tariffs good? Are they bad? Ever since Trump floated this tax change, many people are wondering whether they are beneficial or detrimental. Let's discuss this so you can kind of form your own opinions here. Right off the bat, if people don't have to pay federal income taxes anymore, guys, this would eliminate an incredible amount of paperwork, stress, and headaches related to tax preparation and compliance. It would be a dream. This would mean fewer tax forms to file, fewer receipts to keep track of, fewer barriers to entry from accounting perspectives for people trying to set up new businesses. I mean, the list just goes on. Just think about it. Just imagine not having to file federal income taxes. How crazy would that be? All that time, energy, and money that people spend compiling all those federal tax documents to stay in compliance with federal tax law can now be spent just making more money. That is amazing.
So, Cliff, real fast before he breaks it down, what? Two questions. What are your thought process on tariffs and eliminating income tax?
I mean, tariffs does it does increase the price on goods that are being sold.
It does.
But what offsets that is it incentivizes you to be able to buy more local.
Correct.
Because basically it says like, so if China wants to sell you a car real cheap, because they can make cars real cheap. I mean, they can send you a car for brand new $15,000, right?
Yes, yeah.
But if you put a $10,000 or $20,000 tariff on it, that Chinese car becomes $25,000. Well, you might buy a Ford or a Dodge at that point because it's the same price.
Yeah.
So it incentivizes more local buying is what it does there. The income tax, that's interesting. It definitely make things easier. I'm telling you.
It will. Yes, it will. My God.
But what does that do in terms of income for the government? How does we got debt, trillions. So where does the government get its income? How does it make money?
Makes sense. I agree with you on when it comes to tariffs. Tariffs do increase the price point for consumers, right? And that 3% in its example is collected up front, right, from the country sending in said good. Now, folks that say they don't like tariffs say that it's passed on to the consumer. That theoretically they are correct about that as well. Also, what I like what you said, Cliff, was this here. It incentivizes competition. For example, Cliff, let me ask you a dumb question. If you are trying to buy a car, let's say a Maserati, right? And say the Maserati costs you $100,000. And now, because 3% tariffs is 103. But someone says, Cliff, I can actually make a better car than Maserati in the US. So you pay 103, I can give you a better car, same features, even better. Instead of paying 103, paying that tariff, I can get it to you for 90,000. Which one would you buy?
I'm about the 90,000.
So because of the incentive of creating competition, which is what I believe he's betting on, it forces ingenuity in the US to create competition to better serve the consumer. Do you agree or you disagree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're going to end up paying more for, like you just said, for the goods. Yeah. But like I said, it incentivizes more local, and like you said before, it forces us to try to do better to hopefully bring our costs lower. Yeah, to make things better. Yeah.
So it sounds like, well, I'm not gonna give it away, guys. Let's go ahead and finish with Carlson real fast because he's gonna get into the abolishing of the income tax. So Cliff asked a good question: how is the government going to make money via taxes? All right, let's go.
Amazing. But the other side of the coin is that the price of many goods in America, they would rise, and it's already felt like it's been rising. I mean, have you guys felt the heat of inflation lately? It's been absolutely absurd. If you're in the middle or lower income household, you're struggling right now to afford the price of goods and services like clothing, vehicle, machinery, food as is. But if you're someone who is leaning towards this argument, just remember that even if prices for imported goods go up, federal income tax burdens would still drop to zero. And when it comes to many types of goods, there's often an American supplier that would not have a tariff placed on it. This is another reason why Trump values tariffs. Placing tariffs on imported goods makes American produced goods more competitive in the marketplace. And for this reason, a tariff-based tax policy is often referred to as a protectionist approach. In regards to the tariff situation, it might also interest you to know that tariffs have been a major part of American history. In fact, prior to 1913, when the modern day income tax was established, tariffs was one of the many ways that the federal government was funded. Many of Americans' early politicians viewed tariffs as a viable way to fund the federal government without having to place a federal income tax on the American people and siphoning money out of everybody's paychecks. Yes, federal income taxes were levied during emergency situations such as the Civil War. However, for the most part, funding for the federal government came from tariffs and excise taxes and things such as like tobacco and alcohol sales. This is how America operated for 14 decades. So even though using tariffs as a primary way to fund federal governments seems like a completely radical idea for many people in today's day and age, this is how our founding fathers ran things back then. So will this approach work? At this time, it's unclear whether or not Trump will move forward with this plan or whether he will even win the presidential election.
That's a good question. Now, Cliff, man, let me give you my theory on why I think he's doing what he's doing. Let me know if you agree or disagree, okay, guys? And again, Cliff did a phenomenal job, guys, breaking that down. Phenomenal breakdown. And I'll go a little bit deeper on the Accountable podcast moving forward on this. I would say this here. I think what Trump's approach is, yes, government revenue will probably go down because of the tariff, but not down that much. It would incentivize competition to create more goods, which is great, which will drive more sales for America. So the income that they will lose from income tax will be made up from the increased competition because consumers will begin to buy more American-made products. Because of the fact that the consumer has more dollars, i.e. not having the income tax, right, to have to pay out, and they can actually use those dollars to buy more goods. Do you agree or disagree?
Exactly. No, that makes sense. I just don't know if that's going to create enough revenue
Agree.
to make up for income tax.
I agree with that.
So how would you? I mean, he's the point that I'm seeing is he's trying to think creatively on how to make people richer, which is the point.
Correct. Yes.
He's not trying to harm business. He's trying to say, hey, everybody make money.
Yes.
The government. You know what? The only way that I can think of to pull that off is to have less reliance on the government. Basically, to say we're going to drop income tax, but we're also going to cut major departments from the government that cost trillions of dollars to run. So if you cut, well, then the taxes make sense because you don't have as large a government you're trying to keep.
So you saying he's trying to run this like a well-oiled machine company? Because when a CEO comes in, Cliff, the first thing we do is we try to figure out where we bleeding cash. Right. Correct? Yep. What can we cut the fat at? So he's saying, if I can cut the fat down in the federal government, that will give me the leeway to be able to not have to impose an income tax, get rid of that on the consumer, which will incentivize the consumer to buy more American goods, which will also incentivize the producers, right, the business owners, to produce more goods at a cheaper and more competitive rate, therefore driving more sales, which would then, because I have a smaller federal government, can take the place of said income tax. You agree or disagree?
Agreed, exactly. Yeah, like you said, well-oiled machine. Because there's plenty of departments that just lose, or you cut major departments, or you cut back. I mean, think about it. You probably lose billions of dollars a year in USPS because it's just not run like any of the other mailing any other mailing companies out there. So I mean, if you're gonna do that, it's like a business, like you said. It's like, cool, if we want to raise revenue, we're probably gonna have to cut somewhere to offset those costs. I mean, to me that makes sense.
I'm more interested to see this strategy versus the Kamala Harris strategy of taxing unrealized gains, because that right there disincentivizes competition, right? So it seems like one approach is making the government more powerful, a lot more bigger. The other approach, which is the Donald Trump approach, is to make the consumer more wealthier versus the government. Do you agree, Cliff?
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's less money, more money in your pocket, making decisions for what you want, versus it coming from up top.
Yeah.
But I also think you have to have. I think if you do that, then you also have to be able to make sure that there are certain benefits
Mm.
that go across the board, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because he's got to share up
Yeah.
Social Security. You can't cut Social Security. There's too many people on it.
Well,
Too many people who are paying into it.
he's already come out and said that Donald Trump would not tax Social Security. That's a big
Mm.
step. I said,
Okay.
wow, that's some. He's a lot of his tax policy that I've seen as I was looking at both of the candidates is on the Kamala Harris side. It was more of we got to tax people more, and the verbiage was tax the wealthy, right? But we know that can only go so far because they have the best people on their squad when it comes to accounting and taxes and when it comes to asset protection, right?
Right.
Number two, which leaves only the middle America open. But on the Trump side, I see more of removing government out of the out of the consumer's pocketbook and said, hey, let's build this thing out. Because he anticipates, which I agree, tariffs will drive up the price point, but it would also incentivize competition as well. Also, it will.
Right.
It will. So, Cliff, man, whether it is a Kamala Harris presidency or Donald Trump presidency, man, here's what I would say, and I'm gonna give a counter move on both, and you're welcome to do the same thing, guys.
Mhm.
Number one, if Kamala Harris wins the presidency, right, and she tries to enact unrealized gains, here's what I would do. I will become an expert in navigating debt. An expert because debt cannot be taxed at all. So if I can get a first and second mortgage and I can still cash flow, right? I'll do it. If that makes some sense.
Right.
Does that at all negate the unrealized gains? No, because if the properties go up in value, they're going to want some type of tax. But if you can offset that 25% tax with debt, whether it be debt creatively, sell a finance debt, you know what I'm saying? I would even say, Cliff, I would take less money down. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm selling financing the property out and it's $100,000 and typically someone will put down 10, 20%, I would actually say, no. Just give me 3% down. 3% down. Because I want more debt on it because of the fact that the government can only tax me on 3.5%. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, you could. I mean, the creative way that I've seen, and hey, you definitely want to talk to a tax expert, your
Yeah,
financial
please.
advisor. Not giving
Please.
financial advice. I'm just trying
No,
to,
we're not.
we spitballing and kind of giving information.
Yeah.
So go see
Yeah.
your own individual tax preparer, financial advisor. So
Mhm.
what I've heard is the big boys, what they do is you set up a company in another country, right? Like we said Ireland, you heard the Bahamas, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And what you do is you have them company out there give you a loan
Mhm.
that you are paying back.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
now that whatever your taxes are, let's say your taxes are 100 grand,
Yeah.
you took a loan out from your company
Correct.
in whatever country it is, and
There
you're
you
paying that
go.
100,000 to them. That's how you offshore the money. If you bring it
Yeah.
back onshore, you have to pay those taxes,
There you go.
but you're just paying off a loan. So I paid off dollar per dollar for the loan in the other country.
That sounds like what Nike do, don't it?
It sounds a lot like what they do.
Exactly. Nike does this all the time, guys. Nike does, guys. Now, if it was a Trump presidency, right? Trump presidency, what would I do? I would take advantage of this no income tax thing. So much so, I would become more aggressive in acquiring properties. I would still master the art of debt, right? I would utilize several strategies: seller financing, creative financing, buy, renovate, and flip, buy, renovate, and hold. You're still going to get taxed with the capital gains, but he's talking about lowering down the corporate tax from 21% to 15%. So that helps it out even more. Then number two, what I would do is I would do a lot of buying, renovating, and refining to long-term debt, and then cash flowing. I would do a lot of joint ventures as well. Also, I would become a little bit more aggressive because the environment itself breeds more activity for me to make more liquidity, more money. Cliff, you agree? You disagree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you'll probably be more aggressive because there's more opportunities to be aggressive.
Yes.
And it's all about the opportunity. So yeah, I think that would probably be right because if there's more transactions, if there's more people out there trying to make money,
Yeah.
most of the time you can't make money just out of nothing, right? You need
No.
employees, you need other companies you're working with.
Yeah.
There's several people involved. So if transactions go up,
Yeah.
you're going to make more money overall. So that's what we want to. That's what we want to see. So if you see transactions just increase overall, people
Yeah.
are making money, people are doing things,
Yeah.
then yeah, I think it's going to be an environment to take more chances.
It is. It is. And again, take wise chances, guys. Again, we're not financial advisors. We are real estate investors, right? And private equity investors as well also. So again, we're not trying to give you any financial advice at all. This is what we do already in our real estate investors right now, guys. So with that being stated, guys, man, I hope this was informative. If you could, guys, we're doing something a little bit different here, guys, is, hey, we are giving away a free ebook. It is titled Distressed Property Investing. Here's our strategy, guys. Our strategy is this here. If we can teach you how to locate a distressed property in your city, right? Vet that said property in your city, and then, of course, structure it the right way, right? We will fund the deal for you, and we can profit share. This is a free ebook. You can there's a link below. You can click on the link below or scan this QR code right there, no matter what platform you're on. Or if you're on TikTok or Instagram, whatever it may be, you can DM me the word real estate. That's it, the word real estate, and my team will get you out that link. It is free. It doesn't cost you a dime at all. Or if you're on what do you call it? YouTube, put in the comment section, real estate, and we'll reach out to you and to get your information and get you over the link. It's real simple. It is completely free. Our goal, guys, is we're kind of combining private equity with real estate investing. Cliff and I have the knowledge, we have the resources, we have the know-how, we have the connections as well also, and the influence to be able to assist you in growing your portfolio. Again, and this whole book is free. We don't want nothing from you. Cliff, you want to say anything about that at all, brother?
No, that's it. Just take advantage of the opportunity. That's what I would say. I know you're busy. Most people are busy. You're trying to figure out and find time.
Yeah.
Man, that's why you got us, because we're gonna cut your learning curve in half, maybe not
Yeah.
more. Who knows, right? Depending on
Yeah.
where you're at. But we can start getting to work immediately. This is what I would say. Hop on board and
Yeah.
let's do a one-on-one. Be
Mhm.
part of our what we're doing, and we
Yeah.
can take a look in your area, and we can start pulling up deals in your area. We can
Yes.
start walking you through exactly what's already happening. So you could
Yes.
probably give us your location, and I bet you we could probably start looking
Mhm.
and go, here's an opportunity, here's an opportunity.
Yeah.
We can take all the things that we've learned, what you're
Correct.
trying to achieve, and see if we can apply it.
And Johnny Rodriguez, brother, I see you, man. I see you, brother, man. Hey, we actually are we were fairly active early in the 2020 and 2021 in Florida. We were very active in that area, South Florida. So, well, you in Central Florida, we were in the South Florida area, the Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale area, Miami area. But love Florida, but a beautiful state. We'll reach out to you guys again, guys. I'm gonna put it back up for you guys again. It is free. We don't want nothing from you at all. We'll reach out to you, get you over the link, guys. That's it. Now, with that being stated, guys, what me and Cliff are looking to do is to really assist individuals that want to take real estate to the next level. That's all we're looking to do. That is it. And it didn't cost a dime, guys. I don't know about you, Cliff. Did we have this type of opportunity when we began our stuff? Not at all. We had to figure it out on our own. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out on our own. And that's okay. That's fine. It is what it is. So, guys, it is what it is, guys. Cliff, you want to say anything at all, man, before we get off?
Nah, man, take advantage of the opportunity. You one deal away. And man, enjoy your weekend. Take time with your family. And we're going to see you same time next week.
Yes, sir. But you know, we end it every single time, baby. Before you leave and while you came, baby, you see that thing, baby. Take that damn picture and give it to your mama and them. How's your partner? Guys, see you guys next week, guys. Peace.
Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Big God, big grace.